it's come to something when our insane bank of CGI cannot recreate something that stop motion did 28 years ago. So I've seen a number of videos by other creators on this platform finding more and more expressive ways to explain why the movie Damsel sucks, and it does. But I wanted to give my take on this because I feel like this movie was specifically written for 8-year-old me. Like, this shit's personal. So this might seem a bit hard to believe, but when I was a kid, I didn't exactly fit in. I've always had a very deep-rooted passion for fantasy and sci-fi, right from a very young age. And being a girl in the 90s basically meant that as far as fantasy was concerned, I had the choice between My Little Pony and Princess Starla. And I would happily sit down and watch these shows. I mean, I don't have a problem with the pink, fluffy princessy type of stuff, if that's what you're into. What? But I like to indulge in all kinds of fantasy, including a lot of the darker stuff, my holy trinity of animated shows being Batman, Gargoyles and Phantom Cat. Until the movie Dragonheart came along, which pretty much cemented everything that I loved about fantasy. This movie tells the story of a knight turned dragon slayer who, upon finding himself in a stalemate with a dragon, discovers that this creature is not a mindless killing machine as he'd previously thought, but actually an intelligent, kind and noble beast who only kills humans in self-defense. And this sparks friendship and partnership between the two characters. And because there was no female equivalence for this type of character, my 8-year-old self basically just made up my own and convinced my friends to play with me. My friend. Imaginary friend. Yeah. And this is why I'm so mad with Damsel. This is exactly the type of movie I would have wanted when I was a kid. Like Damsel, but make it a good movie. The movie starts by telling us that this is not a story about a damsel in distress being saved by a brave knight. So we start with a medieval setting in a nation that is so poor the princesses are the ones that need to gather wood for the people. Because apparently there's no one else, like, what? Then we get the traditional arranged marriage situation with a country that these people apparently have never heard of, but they're so desperate they agree to it. Because, you know, what could possibly go wrong? So they travel to this kingdom that is so lavish it hurts. I love how this movie says, oh, this is not a fairy tale. Well, it bloody well looks like one. Like, who can afford all of this stuff? Princess Elodie is introduced to Prince Henry and they get to know each other and spend some time together. Fine. They go out riding together in this wonderful romantic setting. Then we get the wedding with a surprisingly small attendance. Like, this is a royal wedding, but there's like 5 people there. Sure. After that, there's another ceremony with some very strong Eyes Wide Shut vibes, and the princess has to like walk across this rickety bridge into a mountain. We get an exposition dump about the history of the kingdom and the dragon, and I have no clue what's about to happen in this scene. It's all very mysterious and surprising. There's like really, what happened to, I don't know, the element of surprise, suspense, just mystery? I don't know, did you have to make it so bloody obvious what's about to happen? Yeah, she gets thrown down the mountain.
The thing is, it wouldn't have actually been that hard to make this a surprise. Simply have the wedding and do the whole, like, blood ceremony thing as a part of the wedding. Then get Elodie to go out on a romantic tour with Henry. This could have been after the wedding instead of before it. Have him take her to his ancestors' cult place or whatever, just to explain to her the culture of his kingdom and his family. have him tell her that he loves her and that she's the most amazing person, blah, 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 whatever, romantic stuff. Keep the semblance of normalcy up until the end. You don't need to do this whole weird ceremony with masks. Like, there is literally no need for all of this. And once she's, blissfully happy with what she thinks is the love of her life, then throw her down the mountain. It's not hard.
The next 2/3 of the movie are Princess Elodie wandering around the tunnels inside the mountain trying to escape the dragon, which really doesn't try very hard to catch her. She discovers that this ritual has been going on for centuries, and that possibly hundreds of girls before her suffered this fate. She ends up in this chamber with a very convenient map just drawn on the wall, which conveniently shows her the exit. Wait, how is there a map down here? Because apparently it was drawn by one of the girls, which would mean that one of these girls actually mapped the entire bloody mountain, found the exit, then somehow returned to this chamber and took the time to draw the map on the wall for, the next girls, where?
I'm trying to understand you. I'm trying.
But later on we learn that none of the girls ever actually made it out of the mountain. They all got caught by the dragon.
It's kind of depressing because everybody dies.
What?
You're not coming through.
It's established earlier on in the movie that Princess Elodie has a passion for mazes. She loves drawing them for her little sister. And there's a scene of her doing one herself. This was the perfect opportunity to put this skill to use, her passion for mazes being used to work her way through the maze under the mountain, but instead of that you just give her a bloody map instead of getting her to think. What was the point of this? Millie Bobby Brown said in an interview that she wanted the character to be inspiring, presumably to 8-year-old me's that are out there in the world. So her character doesn't have to think. She just, is given the answer. How inspiring. Then we get more endless scenes of her scrambling through the caves until her father comes to rescue her? I thought you said that this wasn't a movie about a damsel in distress being saved by a brave knight/king/prince/somebody. But that's what happens. Her father comes in to save her. He gets killed by the dragon, but then Princess Elodie uses the rope that he used to get into the cave to climb out. He literally came and also gave her the solution for leaving the cave. This movie doesn't even do what it says it does on the cover! We learn that the dragon's babies were killed by the first king who came and settled on this island, which is why she demands 3 girls of royal blood every generation in retribution for her 3 babies that were killed. Her goal being to hurt the royal family the same way they hurt her. But why though? Why doesn't she just torch the lot of them? She clearly can. Also, why doesn't this kingdom that is rich beyond any reason hire a gigantic army to go and kill the dragon? The dragon isn't even that big. And later on, Princess Elodie almost kills it on her own. So I'm pretty sure an army could do it. This doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, the whole demanding princesses as tribute thing comes from the legend of St. George. The story goes that a dragon demanded tribute from villagers in order for it to just let them live in peace. The villagers provided it with cattle, but when the cattle run out, they started feeding the dragon with humans instead. This only became a problem when a princess was chosen as tribute to the dragon, at which point St. George got involved and was like, yeah, you can kill, innocent villagers, that's fine, but a princess? No, that's crossing the line. So he kills the dragon and marries the princess. This movie kind of tries to give us some kind of explanation as to why the dragon would specifically demand princesses as tribute. Okay. But afterwards, Princess Elodie explains to the dragon that she hasn't actually been killing descendants of the royal king who killed her babies. In fact, she's been killing innocent women that weren't a part of this family. No matter what way you look at this, the girls she would have been killing, be they a part of this royal family specifically or just random girls as they happen to be, she'd still be killing innocent girls because they themselves weren't responsible for the murder of her children. Like, make it make sense. This makes the dragon no better than the evil queen who's feeding her the girls in the first place.
Robin Wright actually points this out in an interview, where she says the dragon and the queen are doing the same thing, both for their own specific reasons. The thing is, I don't think that that's the point this movie is trying to make. It clearly favours the reasoning of the dragon, and at the end, Elodie ends up using the dragon's power to get revenge. This movie glorifies revenge. And violent revenge at that. This is not an inspiring story. This is a villain origin story.
And Princess Elodie has the opportunity to kill the dragon and end this horrible slaughter forever. But she doesn't. She does the whole, brings the sword down but doesn't actually strike the dragon thing. Like, my god, this movie is so fucking filled with cliches, it hurts. What she actually does is take the dragon down to the evil queen's castle and torches the whole thing to the ground. So she herself becomes a senseless killer, making her no better than the queen and the dragon. How inspiring!
I also don't understand the morals of this story. Like, why does the dragon get a pass for doing what she did? The argument being that she was tricked into killing innocent girls, even though the girls she would have been otherwise killing were also innocent. But regardless, is there not an argument also to be made in Henry's favour? Because Henry, it could be said, was also forced into this role of manipulating young girls into becoming literal dragon fodder, because he, looking at it from his perspective, he is constantly being made to appeal to these young women and pretend to, fall in love with them and get married with them and then chuck them down a mountain. And it's obvious from his just facial expressions and later on a remark that he makes to his own mother that he doesn't agree with what's going on, that he is being made to do this, he's being forced to do this, he has been raised being told this is normal and this is what we do. Does he not also get a pass on the same level as the dragon does? I also find it odd that this kingdom keeps going outside of its borders to find women, because I can't believe I'm about to say something in the favour of Hyde by Kirsten White. I thought this novel was really bad, but it kind of has the same premise. We're talking about a family that needs to make sacrifices from their own bloodline every 7 years or however long it is. So what they do is they make sure that the bloodlines have a healthy supply of illegitimate children going on at all times. So these people are still technically officially their heirs, but they're not direct descendants, if that makes sense, but they still have the blood. So why go to all the trouble of doing the whole blood ceremony thing, which seems a bit dubious because they're only given a few drops of royal blood. And it seems odd to me also that this dragon, who supposedly has a super good sense of smell, doesn't realise that there's only a tiny percentage of royal blood along with these girls'
that are mostly, like, probably 99.9% of other blood. I don't know if this makes sense, but it just seems weird to me that the dragon wouldn't notice that. But yeah, here's a video of my cat Hodor sleeping, because he's really cute. Is he not just really cute? Also, Shadows turned 20 this month. Say happy birthday. I honestly don't understand in what way any of this is supposed to make any kind of impact on anyone, anywhere, ever. Netflix spent $70 million on this movie. $70 million on this! There's nothing inspiring or even compelling about it. There's a main character who is vapid and void, with no personality to speak of, that never gets to use any of her skills or have to think about anything in any way at all, because the movie relies way too much on coincidences and deus ex machina. The whole thing is so fucking predictable it hurts. At no point was I even scared for Elodie's life. I just didn't care whether or not she lived or died. Why should I? I don't care about this dragon. What, am I supposed to feel sorry for it because its babies were killed? This dragon chose retribution by killing innocent girls the same way her babies were killed. She's not a good character. I don't feel sorry for her. I just don't care. And I'm not convinced that any of the actors in this actually cared either. These performances are half-hearted at best. And by the way, what happened to Princess Buttercup? Like, who knew that the Princess Bride would end up like this? Also, can we talk about this hateful design for the dragon? I'm just not convinced by any of it. First of all, it's way too dark, inexpressive, and it just looks ugly. You want somebody to design a decent looking dragon for you? Chihuahua Cabral is right there. He's right there. Just ask him to do it. Phil Tippett designed Draco the dragon for the movie Dragonheart. This was back in 1996, by the way, when CGI wasn't what it is now. This dragon is stop motion, and he just looks so much better. First of all, he's a lot lighter, so you can, see him. He's got humans' facial expressions that make him so much more relatable. They managed to make him look noble and majestic, but also goofy and comedic when he needs to. Like, I see this character and I want to go up and give it a cuddle. This thing just no. It's come to something when our insane bank of CGI can't recreate something that stop motion did 28 years ago. Like, sure, Draco's eyes and wings were animated. I miss the days of puppets and real props and stop motion because it just looked more real. This was truly a work of love and passion, and it really comes across in the movie. And this brings me to my next point about a lot of these movies that are made today. They don't feel like they were made with love. As I said, it didn't seem like anyone involved in this actually cared. It's just another role to play in a long list of roles, not something to truly get involved with. Like, okay, I'll read out the script, give me my paycheck, and I'll move on to the next thing. The same thing goes for the writers. This is lazy at best. If you tell me that there isn't a decent writer out there to work on stuff like this, I don't believe you. Take the music video for Finsterwacht by Saltation Mortis. This is a 11-minute long music video, and it's way more compelling than this movie. These guys are musicians and cosplayers, not multi-award winning professional actors. And yet they managed to make way more convincing characters that don't even have any lines of dialogue, and tell a story that is heartfelt, because they actually care about what they're creating. And they know how to work with other people who care and who know how to write decent stories, like Bernhard Hennen, a man who is genuinely brilliant at writing fantasy. And the fact that more of his work hasn't been translated into English is a crime against humanity. This wasn't made with $70 million or even $58 million like Dragonheart. Like, why not throw $70 million at something that actually matters, that's actually got a purpose, that people actually care about? Why don't you make season 3 of the OA, for fuck's sake? Yeah, I'm still mad about this. Give me a protagonist with a personality, a reason for me to care about them, something to root for, something that I can relate to. I don't know, maybe a character arc. Show me how they learn and overcome difficulties in ways that actually feel like they're earned, instead of just random shit like this. Like, seriously. Give me something that's inspired, something that's made with love, with passion, something that the very creators genuinely cared about. So yeah, don't go watch DAMSEL. Go watch Dragonheart. Not the sequels though. Let's just collectively agree to pretend the sequels don't exist. Go read Bernhard Hennen's novels. If you speak English or French like me, you can read the Elven Trilogy. If you're lucky enough to speak German, you can read everything else. I really need to learn German. And let us all come together in collective anticipation for the release of Saltation Mortis' new album, because it looks and sounds amazing. And if you're like me and you're still mad because the OA got cancelled, go check out A Beautiful Net, the OA Zine, on Etsy. I'll leave a link in the description. The next issue is also going to contain some of my artwork, and this genuinely is a work of love and passion. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.